Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm also known as the Yoga Crow. Thank you for joining me today for some post-exercise stretching. So whether you play football, you go running, you play hockey or netball, lots of different activities everyone does these days. And afterwards, it's really important to stretch. So we want to build strength in our body for all the sports and activities we do, but also flexibility, because that really helps us avoid injuries. So today I'm just going to talk you through 10-15 minutes of stretching you can do anywhere, whether you're outside on a playing field, in your garden, in a local park, and just something to stretch out the muscles after exercise. So what happens after exercise? Our muscles can get quite tight, and if we haven't stretched them out, they're more likely then to snap. And that's when you feel all the aches that sometimes you might do the day after or later in the day. So to begin with, we're going to be standing tall. Our toes are pointing forwards and having a little bit of a bend in the knee. So just a micro bend in the knee, a very narrow, tiny little bend. And so if we lock the knees and make them really straight, it's not great, it's not healthy for the knees. So we have a tiny little bit of a bend in the knees like that. So standing tall, toes are pointing forwards, the feet are parallel, a bit like they're on train tracks. And we're rolling the shoulders up, back and down. Beautifully tall. We're going to take a breath in, breathing in, reaching up.
Stretching the arms up. So we're stretching the back of the body by reaching through the fingertips. And then from here, we're going to turn to the right-hand side. Our feet haven't moved at all. So we're twisting the spine, twisting the body. And then we'll come through center.
And over to the left-hand side. Coming back through center and releasing the arms. Allow the blood to come back into the arms, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to do it on tiptoes. So this is going to challenge our balance, and it's also going to work on our core muscles, keeping our core area, abdominal muscles strong. Really can help with keeping our backs safe, and that's what you want just in daily life generally. So it really helps if you can focus on something that's not moving. We call it a drishti point in yoga, something's totally still, hopefully in front of you. So as we breathe in, we're going to reach up through our fingertips again, exactly the same as we've just done, but now coming onto our tiptoes. So if you've got a little bit of a gap between the feet, it's slightly easier to balance. And the wider you are, the easier you might find it. So have a little play with the width between your feet, just making sure they're parallel and the toes are pointing forwards. And then from here, we're going to turn towards the right-hand side, still reaching through the fingertips, challenging the balance. Remember, as you turn, you're looking at something still towards the right as well. And then as you come back to center, looking over the left shoulder as well. Slowly coming back to center, releasing the feet, rolling the shoulders back and down. So that's reaching through the hands. We've stretched the back already and almost stretched the shoulders a little as well. We're going to come into a forward fold. So this is going to get into our hamstrings. So easy to do wherever you're doing these stretches, inside or outside. So I've got a little bit of a gap between my feet again. My toes are pointing forwards. Knees are soft, little bit of a micro bend here. Hands on the hips, so breathing in. Breathing out, folding forwards. And we're leading with the heart. So we want to fold from the hips. Now, wherever you get to, keep that micro bend in the knee. If the back of the legs feel a bit sore and tight, then you can bend the knees a little bit more. Allow the head and the neck to relax. We're looking through our legs behind us. Maybe the fingertips come to the floor. Maybe you hold opposite elbows. And remember, particularly in yoga, we're wanting to be kind to our body. So if the hamstrings are tight and the muscles feel a bit sore, bend the knees a bit more. From here, we're going to slowly turn to the left. And then slowly turn to the right. And then we're coming back to center. Bring the hands to the hips, bend into the knees a bit more, push through the feet to come up to standing. So that's a great stretch for the back of the legs. The next one I wanted to show you is Warrior One pose. And again, another simple one for the calf muscles. So I'm standing at one end of my mat. Wherever you are, just make sure you've got enough space to step backwards here. Toes are pointing forwards, rolling the shoulders back and down. Standing tall, breathing in, reaching up, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. And then we're
stepping the right foot back.
And straight away, we want the heels to be in line and this left knee to bow above the left ankle. Make sure the weight distribution over both feet is the same. So we want our body weight in both feet. And then we can slowly lower down the arms and we'll change sides. So breathing in to reach up.
And then we're taking the left foot back.
Allowing the arms to come back down the sides and bring the left foot back in. From here, coming back to center. So we've stretched the legs out a little here. And now we are going to move the hips a little bit. So I always like to work with the hips because they can get quite tight doing various activities. So I'm going from left to right and then making a figure of 8 with the hips and make really big movements if you can. You can bend into the knees, going in one direction and then changing the direction. So this is making our brains think a little bit harder, going in the opposite direction. And slowly coming back up to center. I want to come back up to the shoulders now. We're going to do something called eagle arms. There's a full eagle pose with the legs as well, but actually rather than concentrating on balance, we want to concentrate on stretching the body out after some exercise today. So we're going to just do the arms. I'm going to reach out with the fingertips. And we're going to take one arm on top of the other. So let's start with the right on top of the left, just at the elbow, and then wrapping the arms around as far as you can. So it might just be the back of the hands that are able to touch. You might be able to bring the palms or the fingers together. From here, drop the shoulders away from the ears, lift the elbows. And it's almost like you're pushing the elbows away from your body, creating a stretch across the top of the shoulders, top of the back. And then slowly unraveling your arms. We'll go over to the other side. So reaching up through the fingertips. This time the left arm is coming over the right at the elbow. We're wrapping it around as far as we can and taking the elbows away from us. Then are at shoulder height again. And very carefully, gently release that. So we're going to bring one leg up and give the thighs or the quadriceps a bit of a stretch now. And this is where you might want to hold on to something. So I'm going to come towards the wall just to show you. We're going to make sure both feet are pointing forward, so they're still parallel. Maybe holding on to something if you need to. And then I'm going to bring my right leg up to begin with. And we want the knee to come together. And I'm still standing tall. And if you can find a still point to stare at, you can reach up through the left hand. So it's becoming a balance. We're working with the abdominal muscles again, so strengthening the core, but also stretching the quads. So the quadriceps are the muscles at the front of the thigh. From here, gently lowering that hand if it went up and taking that foot down. And then we'll do it all over on the other side. So resetting if you need to, making sure the toes are pointing forwards. That really does affect our balance. So if our toes are pointing out from one side or to the other, that can make us a bit wobbly. We're going to breathe in and take hold of the left ankle. Bring the knees together. Strong stretch for the quadriceps. heel almost getting to the glutes if you can, and reaching up with the opposite hand. It's a version of dancer pose. And then lowering the hands back down and lowering the legs. So we've done calf muscles through Warrior One. We've done the back of the legs, the hamstrings through our forward fold or Uttanasana. We've just done the quads in a version of dancer pose. And we've stretched out the shoulders in our eagle arms and the back just through reaching up through the hands. So really simple stretches to do anywhere you are. The one thing I'm very, I concentrate on quite a lot on in my classes are the ankles and the front of the feet. And this is an area of our body we don't often look after very well. Our feet do lots for us, but we don't always do a lot for our feet. So we're going to work with our feet and our ankles standing, because that's the easiest way often to work with a stretch when we're outside or after a game or the activity we're doing. It's going to become a balance, but also know you could hold on to something. So we're going to lift up our right leg and we're going to point and flex the toes and create some circles as well. So we want strength in the ankles and the feet because they do so much for us, but we also want flexibility. So the flexibility makes them stronger. Dropping that foot down gently, and then we'll go over to the side. So I'm coming up, lifting up the left foot, making some circles. And pointing, flexing, pointing, flexing. And then slowly bringing that foot down. So it's really important to look after the toes and the ankles as well. Last stretch I wanted to talk us through today is we're going to try and stretch those pectoral muscles, which are up here. So we're going to clasp our hands behind us and push the hands down. So gently pushing them down to create some openness across the chest, and maybe taking the hands away from us just a little bit. And we can gently release the hands there. So this is some simple body stretches, all yoga poses in some form, to release tension and tightness in the body after exercise. So a few things to work on wherever you are and whatever exercise or activity you have done. Thanks for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.